Welcome back. All right, so 13 games tonight in the National Hockey League. It's a lot of stuff to get through. It means this review is going to go up late. Much I can do when they have two 7:30 starts. And so let's go ahead and start things off. We're going to talk about the Boston Bruins and the Columbus Blue Jackets. So this was the third and final meeting. The first period was actually a really good one for Columbus, and then Boston kind of takes over. So it's Ullmark versus Martin. Pasternak has a shot, that's held. Shots are 2-0 Boston, 3 minutes in. Bemstrom has a rush chance, that's defended. Roslovic had a chance, that's held. Delay a game call gives Boston a power play. That was killed off. Really good kill by Columbus. No shots for Boston on that power play. Bruins are stuck on 2 shots for a while. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Pasternak's denied. The rebound's blocked. Danforth has a net drive, that's saved. Boston goes back to the power play. That's killed off as well. Sillinger has a shot that's held in close. The Jackets press with 2 minutes left. They had some momentum late and hoping that would carry over into the second period. We are scoreless after 1. Second period, there's an early press by the Bruins. Eventually, they get a goal. Shattenkirk, who's been pretty hot scoring-wise lately. Grzelcyk and Coyle with the assists at 2:12. The Bruins look for another, but Kent Johnson would answer from Provorov and Voronkov at 4 minutes. Bruins look to respond. McAvoy had a wraparound. That's blocked. We get a power play for Columbus. That's killed off. Boston then goes to the power play, and they score on theirs. Van Riemsdyk from DeBrusk and Lindholm at 13:07. And Johnson nearly performs the Michigan. It was close, and it gets blocked. So, 2-1 Boston after 2. Third period early press by the Bruins. Columbus, they press back on the next shift. Jiricek has a shot that's blocked. Texier's denied on a net drive. The shots are 3-1 Columbus, 3.5 minutes in. More pressure by Columbus at 5 minutes, but eventually Heinen scores for Boston from Van Riemsdyk at 7:29. Marchenko would have an opportunity, that deflects out, and then at 15:53, Frederick puts this one out of reach from Van Riemsdyk. Your final score is 4-1. Boston goes to 23-7-6. Columbus 12-19-8 with the loss. Shots on net, 12-5 Columbus in the first, 13-3 Boston in the second, 12-9 Columbus in the third. Both teams had 27 shots in this game. Power plays 1 for 3 for Boston, 0 for 1 for Columbus. Both teams had 10 hits. Ullmark saved 26 out of 27, and Martin saved 23 out of 27 at the other end. So big win for Boston tonight. All right, moving along. Carolina, what happened here? So the one no mercy game for tonight, and there were no 80s games tonight. The scoring seems to be down in the NHL right now, but not necessarily if you're Carolina. So it's Kochetkov versus Shesterkin. There was an early Canes power play while fans are booing Aho every time he touched the puck early on. And at 1:49, Carolina scores, which won't make New York fans happier. It's Drury on the power play from Nason and Shea. The Canes look for another. Svechnikov's denied in close. It's cleared out. Get a power play for the Rangers. That's killed off. The shots are 4-3 New York at 4.5 minutes, or 7.5 minutes. Lafreniere's denied. The rebound's cleared. Rangers press with 9 minutes left. The fans call one. The referee does not. Natchez beats out an icing. Trocheck has a shot that's caught and held with 54 seconds left. The Canes go to the power play, and they would score on it. It's a cross-ice pass by Aho, and Svechnikov buries it, stays red hot, makes it 2-0. Burns with the other assist at 19:29. So it's 2-0 Carolina after 1. Second period, Natchez has a shot that's blocked and cleared. We get a power play for New York. That's killed off, but not long after it ends at 4:28. Kreider scores from Trouba and Panarin, so that tightens up the game, but Carolina would answer. Martinook scores from Stahl at 6:32. We get a power play for the Canes. That's killed off. Canes press with 8.5 minutes left. Nason has a net feed to Nason gets picked off. 38.1 seconds left. New York with a power play. So it's 3-1 Carolina after 2. The Rangers with the power play rolling into the third period. It felt like that was a big deal. And then the Canes finish the kill. Not long after, Natchez was the one in the box. He comes out. Helps to set up Chatfield with the goal at 1:31. Drury and Natchez with the assist there. So that made it 4-1 and really took the starch out of this one. At 2:56, Svechnikov gets another one. He buries one on a net drive from Shea. We get a power play for Carolina. That's killed off. The Canes press with 8 minutes left. Eventually they get another. It's Michael Bunting scoring from Lemieux and Shea at 15:48. It's a laugher. It's a 6-1 no mercy victory for Carolina. They go to 21-13-4. They are rolling. For the Rangers, 25-10-1. And suddenly, they are only, by my count, 5 points ahead of the Carolina Hurricanes. Shots on net, 12-9 Rangers in the first, 10-5 Rangers in the second, 13-7 Carolina in the third. Final shots, 29-27 for the Rangers. Power plays, Carolina 2 for 4, the Rangers 0 for 3, the hits 18 to 11 Rangers. Kachatkov saves 28 out of 29, Shesterkin 21 saves on 27 shots, so that hurts his stat line just a little bit. All right, next up, Washington and Pittsburgh, the 67th meeting, and the only reason I know that is because they talked about it over and over and over again, the meeting between Ovechkin and Sid the Kid, who's no longer a kid. But there may only be 2 of these meetings left. There's the possibility that maybe Ovechkin just says, that's it after this year. You just never know, right? There's always a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen, but there's that possibility. So Kemper versus Jarry in this one, it takes 55 seconds for Washington to get the lead. It's Tom Wilson wiring it on the rush. He's very popular in Pittsburgh too. Sandin and Bear with the assists. So Ethan Bear with his first point as a member of the Capitals. Penguins press to respond, but the shots are 3-1 Caps 4 minutes into this. Both teams defending pretty well. The Caps press at 7 minutes. Edmondson has a blast, that's held. The Caps have a 3-on-2, that's broken up. Sandin to Ovechkin near miss. Gensel fires one high on a rush. And then Malenstein has one that goes in off Graves' stick. Dowd with the assist at 11-16. And then at 13:02, Fir Avenue scores for Washington to make it 3-0 from Strome and Lapierre. So Jarry's night was done. Nedeljkovic goes in. And Pittsburgh called a timeout so Mike Sullivan could yell at his team for a little while. And then just let him kind of stew on the rest of that timeout. So the Penguins score, but that's offside. So that didn't make Mike Sullivan happy either. And then we get a power play for the Caps, and they score on it. It's Ovechkin, who I think this is back-to-back games he scored in. Sandin and Mantha with the assists at 19:18. So Rasmus Sandin with a couple of helpers in the first period. But before the period's out, Pittsburgh gets on the board. It's Raquel from Carlson at 19:56. So it's a 4-1 lead for the Capitals after 1, and then we get to the second. And really, honestly, the next 40 minutes, Pittsburgh dominates. So things get pushy on a hold by Kemper. Shots are 2-1 Pittsburgh at 4 minutes. Obe Kubel fires one wide on a rush. Caps have a 3-on-2 chance, that's saved. Bears denied as the Caps press. We get a power play for the Penguins, and they score on it as their power play continues to improve from that horrendous number they had earlier in the year. Crosby scores on the power play from Gensel and Malkin at 9 minutes and 11 seconds. And he buried that one on the third try he had at it. Caps look to respond. Rust is denied and close. We get a power play for the Capitals. That's killed off. And then at 18:54, so late in the period, Gensel makes it 4-3. Crosby and Raquel with the assists. Suddenly, this game is very close going into the third period. Shots are 3-2 for the Penguins at 3 minutes. We get a power play for Pittsburgh. Near miss by Gensel. Crosby has a shot that deflects out. Caps killed that off and clear it out afterwards. No easy exits for the Caps, though. Like, there was a lot of puck pressure by Pittsburgh in that third period. Penguins go back to the power play. There's a near miss for Malkin. That's killed off. We get a press by the Penguins with 3.5 minutes left. Things get kind of punchy with 17.1 seconds left, and the Caps end up holding on. So your final score is 4-3 for Washington. 18-11-6 is the record. Pittsburgh 18-14-14 with the 14-4 with the loss. Shots on net 11-6 Washington in the first, 16-8 for the Penguins in the second, and then 13-3 for the Penguins in the third. Final shots 35-22 for Pittsburgh. Power plays. Washington 1 for 2, Pittsburgh 1 for 3. The hits 29-17 for Pittsburgh. Kemper saved 32 out of 35. Jarry saved 4 out of 7, was replaced by Nedeljkovic, who saved 14 out of 15 in relief. So I don't think we have a goalie controversy in Pittsburgh yet. But in the event that Jarry needed to be pulled again over, say, the next week, then there'll start being talk of a goalie controversy. All right, moving along. Montreal and Dallas. Well, this ended up turning out not so great for Dallas fans, of course, although Dallas made it interesting late. So it's Montembeault versus Wedgwood. It takes 11 seconds. Jamie Benn scores the seventh of the season from Johnston on a rush. Shots are 3-2 for the Stars at 3.5 minutes, but it's a turnover and it's buried. Suzuki gets one from Slafkovsky at 4:14. Robertson nearly answers, but Montreal would get the lead. It's Caden Gooley burying a rebound. Kovacevic and Pizzetta with the assists at 9:48 to make it 2-1 Montreal. Stars look to respond. Habs are blocking the net well. We get a press by Montreal with 2.5 minutes left, but it remains 2-1 in favor of Montreal after the first period. Second period, early press by Dallas. In fact, the shots are 6-2 Dallas, 6 minutes in. They're dominating, just Montembeault's good. And then at 6:54, Harris scores unassisted to make it 3-1 for Montreal. Habs look to add another. Heiskanen has a shot that's blocked. It's cleared out. The Stars aren't really hitting the net at this point in the game. Fans call one. The referee doesn't. Stars get a power play shortly after that, and Montreal kills it off. So it stays 3-1 after 2 periods. Third period. We get a 4-minute Habs power play. That was killed off by Dallas. Not a lot of great chances for Montreal during those 4 minutes. Habs go back to the power play, though, and they score on this one. It's Caulfield at 6:45 from Monahan and Suzuki. Makes the game 4-1. We didn't know how important that was at the time. So the early goalie pull happens because you're down by 3. And then Johnston scores at 16-12 to make it a 2-goal difference. They pull the goalie again with 3.5 minutes left, and eventually at 18 minutes, Pavelski scores from Robertson. Then Dallas pulls the goalie again. They're unable to get that tying goal. Your final score is 4-3. Montreal evens the record back up. They're at 16-16-5. Dallas 22-10-4 with the loss. Shots on net 6-5 Montreal in the first. So another first period where there's not a lot of opportunities either way. Second period, and I mean in Montreal games, 13-5 were the shots in the second for Dallas. 15-7 Dallas in the third. Final shots 33-18 for Dallas. Power plays, Montreal 1 for 3, Dallas 0 for 1. The hits 20-15 for Montreal. Montembeault saved 30 out of 33, and Wedgwood saved 14 out of 18. So I'm not going to put this one on Wedgwood. I don't think that's where an issue lies here. It's just Dallas had a bit of a down game. This is one of those trap games. That can happen, right? All right, next up, last one on this board is Calgary in Minnesota. Calgary, of course, lost to Minnesota the first 2 times, and you can see that in how they played tonight. Much better game all around. So it's Markstrom versus Fleury. Flames press at 2.5 minutes. The shots are 3-2 for Calgary, 4.5 minutes in. Wild press at 5 minutes. Sharangovich, then Kent-Barry won in close. That puck's cleared out. Too many Flames on the ice, so the Wild get a power play. That's killed off. Johansson's denied. The Wild press. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. There was a post for Mangiapane, and then he scores on his next opportunity. He tips one in. Anderson and Uyghur with the assist at 11:37. The Flames then look for another. The Wild would press with 5.5 minutes left. There's a pad save on Dubé as the Flames press. And then Huberdeau scores, finally gets another one, right? He scores from Lindholm and Sharangovich at 19:36. So it is 2-0 Calgary after the first. Second period. Early press by the Wild. Rossi has a shot that's blocked. The Flames clear it out. Greer has a chance that's held. The shots are 4-1 for the Flames at 7.5 minutes. Fast game, few whistles, and Minnesota would get on the board. Maroon scores from Patan and Rossi at 9:28, so that makes it 2-1. Wild then look to tie it. They press again with 4 minutes left. With 1:37 left, though, the Flames get a power play, so that rolls over into the third period. The Wild do finish the kill. There's a press by the Wild at 1.5 minutes. They get a power play. That was killed off. The Wild keep pushing, pressing after that's done. Goligoski gets denied. It's cleared out. Things get pushy on a hold by Markstrom. It really is all Wild. The shots are 11-1 Minnesota 6 minutes into the period. We get a power play for the Wild. That was killed off. The Wild press after. The Flames get some pressure with 7 minutes left. Eventually, the goalie gets pulled, and Coleman hits the empty net from Backlund to Uyghur at 19:03 to remove any doubt with this one. Calgary wins 3-1 in Minnesota. They go to 16-16-5 with the win, and the Minnesota Wild 16-16-4. So 16 is the magic number tonight. Shots on net 13-7 Calgary in the first, 10-5 Calgary in the second, and then 17-10 Minnesota in the third. Final shots 33-29 for Calgary. Power plays, the Flames 0 for 1, Minnesota 0 for 3. The hits 19 apiece. Markstrom saves 28 out of 29. Fleury saved 30 out of 32, and now I need to change boards. All right, Chicago and Nashville. So it's Soderblom versus Saros. Soderblom had a good game, so that's the one positive you can take out of this for Chicago, because he's had some really rough results lately that have taken his save percentage and just knocked it right off the cliff. So we get a post for Evangelista. There's a press by Nashville at 2.5 minutes. The shots are 4-1 Nashville, 4.5 minutes in. We then get a power play for Nashville, and they score on it. It's Gus Nyquist getting the power play marker from Yossi and O'Reilly at 5:16. The Hawks then get some pressure. They're kept to the outside. There's a press by Nashville with 2.5 minutes left. Tomasino has a tip shot. That's held with 22.4 seconds left. The Hawks with a power play. Bedard has a shot that's blocked and cleared to close out the period. It's 1-0 Nashville after 1. Second period. Nashville does finish off the kill. No shots for Chicago during that power play. We then get a press by Nashville at 5.5 minutes. But the shots are 3-1 Chicago, 7.5 minutes in. Lauzon has a shot that's blocked as Nashville pushes, trying to get another. Hawks press with 9 minutes left. There's a 3-on-2 for Chicago. That gets broken up. Sissons has a shot that's blocked and cleared out. 2:50 left. Preds go back to the power play. That was killed off. So after the second period, the score's 1-0 for Nashville still. Third period, the Hawks start off with a full power play. That was killed off. Shots are 3-2 for the Hawks at 7 minutes. There's a near miss for McCarron. It gets cleared out. Chicago gets another power play, and it's killed off as well. Chicago's power play has been not great this year. Nashville presses with 6 minutes left. We get a power play for the Preds, and this takes any tension out of the game that might have been remaining. O'Reilly scores from Forsberg and Nyquist at 15:23. Preds go back to the power play. That's killed off, but what does that do? Takes 2 more minutes off the clock. And then with the goalie pulled, Evangelista hits the empty net from Luke Schenn at 19:27. Nashville wins 3-0. So there's the Tony the Tiger magnet on the board for the fact that he was great tonight, and he being Saros. So Nashville goes to 21-16-1 with the win. Chicago drops to 11-24-2 with the loss. Shots on net, 16-5 Nashville in the first, 9-8 Nashville in the second, 11-8 Nashville in the third. Final shots, 36-21 for Nashville. Power play, Chicago 0-for-3. Nashville 2-for-4. The hits, 25-23 Chicago. Soderblom saved 33 out of 35. Saros saved all 21 shots he faced. And so there you go. Nashville with a win, and Chicago continues their trek towards maybe drafting Celebrini. All right, next up, Tampa Bay and Winnipeg. Was this a fun game or what? Anyways, so Vasilevsky versus Hellebuck. So right away, you know you're going to have a good game because you have two of the best goalies in the game in it. Early jump for Tampa. They press at 3 minutes, do the Tampa Bay Lightning. They get a power play, and they score on it at 6:18. It's Stamkos from Hedman and Kucherov. Then Tampa Bay with more pressure 8 minutes into the game. The shots are 7-4 for Tampa with 9.5 minutes left. Eyssimont has a wraparound that's held. Jets press with 3.5 minutes left. Scheifele has a blast that's held. 17.6 seconds left. Tampa Bay with the delay of game call. Morrissey to Velarde. There's a near miss towards the horn, but it is 1-0 Tampa after the first. Second period. Bolts finish the kill. Barron then with a near miss as the Jets press, but then at 4:44, Pionk. It was a great pass to set him up, and he buries it. Dillon and Barron with the assists ties the game at 1. Tampa Bay presses at 8.5 minutes, but the puck could go the other way, and Iafallo scores from Perfetti at 9:13. Tampa Bay gets a power play. Points denied from the slot. There was a shorthanded rush by Nemesnikov, and in the end, they kill that off. Jets press with 3.5 minutes left, but yeah, they're up 2-0, or 2-1, I should say, after 2 periods. Third period, Tampa Bay presses at 2 minutes. The Jets draw a power play. That's killed off. Jets press after the power play ends. There's another power play for the Jets. There was a near miss by Perfetti. That's killed off. Niederreiter took a stick to the mouth. There was no call on the play. I think it was Kucherov that sticked him up high. But it ends up not being a big deal as he stays in the game. And then Ehlers gets the insurance goal from Nemesnikov at 15:13. He wires that one from the slot. Beautiful goal by Ehlers. The Bolts look to respond. They would pull the goalie, and at 17:53, it's an empty net goal for Morgan Barron, the assist to Tony Nato and Nemesnikov. Tampa Bay would get a late power play. They would score on it at 19:23. It's Kucherov from Hedman and point, but that's as close as she gets. 4-2 is your final in favor of the Jets. They go to 23-9-4 on the season. Ridiculous. Winnipeg over Tampa. Tampa now 18-16-5 on the season with the 4-2 loss. Shots on net favored Tampa 11-7 in the first and 14-8 in the second before Winnipeg outshot them 13-9 in the third. Final shots 34-28 for Tampa. Power plays Tampa Bay 2-for-3, Winnipeg 0-for-3. The hits 26-18 for Winnipeg. Vasilevsky saved 24 out of 27. Hellebuck 32 saves on 34 shots. And this is, I think, the 26th straight game that Winnipeg's allowed 3 or less goals. That's insane. That's absolutely ridiculous. Winnipeg's playing really, really well. So I keep seeing people going, well, we'll see. I mean, they'll probably fall apart. I don't think they're going to. All right, next up, Florida and the Arizona Coyotes. So this was a game that was close, and then Florida does Florida things. So Bobrovsky versus Vejmelka. The shots are 3-0 for the Panthers at 2.5 minutes. Lots of first half whistles in this one. This game kind of crawled at points. The shots are 9-7 for the Panthers at the half. So lots of shots in that first half of the period. But at 10:45, on a turnover, Verhaeghe wires one from the slot. So a bit of sloppy play by Arizona, and Florida makes them pay. It's 1-0 Panthers. Luostarinen gets shaken up, and things get kind of punchy at that point. The Panthers come out of that with a power play as a result. We were a post away from 2-0. Verhaeghe's then denied. That power play's killed off. 47.5 seconds left. The Coyotes with a power play. Durzee's denied. Kerfoot is denied as well, but after the first period, it's 1-0. Panthers finish the kill to start the second period. We get a power play for Florida. That's killed off, but the shots are 5-1 for Florida at 6.5 minutes. Barkov has a rush. That's defended. The Coyotes press with 5.5 minutes left. Cousins is denied. Vejmelka holds on. Panthers press with 2.5 minutes left. We had a fight between Forsling and Zucker, and this is where a whole mess starts up. So it was after a hit on Cousins by Zucker. And Zucker hit Cousins because Cousins had hit Valimaki, which he felt Valimaki was in a vulnerable position, and Nick Cousins throwing the hit. There are people watching this right now. You're like, oh, Nick Cousins. We know Nick Cousins, right? So what happens is they review it, and they give 5 minutes to Zucker. So you start with 2 minutes for everybody, but Zucker gets that 5 minutes, and that means he's out of the game, right? So we roll over into the third period, and after the 4-on-4 is done, it's a 3-minute power play for the Panthers, which Tkachuk had a net feed that gets picked off, and then on a 2-on-1 rush, it's a shorthanded goal. It's Kerfoot from Krause at 3:17, and then the Coyotes finish the kill. So they've come out of that 5-minute power play, which was 3 minutes because of the 2 minutes of 4-on-4 to start, pretty well. It's a 1-1 draw. But Barkov has a rush chance. That's blocked. We get a crossbar and out for Barkov during that same shift. Then we have the shots. It's 4-3 for the Panthers 7 minutes in. Power play for the Panthers. They score on this one. So it is Reinhart from Barkov and Verhaeghe at 7:56. And then at 8:38, just when Tyson Nash is talking about a comeback for Arizona, Florida puts that away. Tkachuk scores the 6th of the season from Kulikov and Bennett at 8:38 to make it 3-1 for Florida. Panthers go back to the power play. That was killed off. And then the Coyotes get a power play after that. That was killed off as well without a shot on net. Goalie pull ends up happening, and Forsling hits the empty net at 17:39. Makes your score 4-1. That is your final. Florida goes to 23-12-12 with the victory. For Arizona, they're 19-15-2 with the loss. Shots on net, 15-14 Arizona in the first. They didn't have 15 shots the rest of the way. 9-3 were the shots for Florida in the second period, and 15-4 for Florida in the third. Final shots 38-22 for the Panthers. Power plays, Florida goes 1 for 5, Arizona 0 for 2. The hits 28-20 for Florida. Bobrovsky saved 21 out of 22. Vejmelka saved 34 out of 37. So, yeah, entertaining game, but for Coyotes fans, had to be a bit frustrating because they were right in it, and then it goes the other way. All right, next up, last one on this board is the Islanders and the Colorado Avalanche. So it's Varlamov versus Georgiev. Varlamov would not finish the game. I haven't seen anything about his status as of yet. We'll probably discuss it in a news video tomorrow. Early jump for the Islanders. The shots are 2-1 for the Avs at 3 minutes, but at 5:39, it is the Islanders who get on the board. It's Engvall, who's been a healthy scratch recently. He gets on the board from Nelson, but Colorado gets that right back. Taves scores from O'Connor and Makar at 6 minutes and 11 seconds, so that lead lasts 32 seconds. Power play for the Avs, that's killed off. The Avs go back to the power play. That was killed off as well. 46.8 seconds left. The Islanders with a power play, so not a lot of time, and they score. Nelson on a beautiful goal. He splits the defense and goes right in and scores. The assist to Dobson and Sorokin in 1928, because by now Ilya Sorokin's in the net. Varlamov's night was done. So it's 2-1 for the Islanders after the first. Second period. At 1:09, Holmstrom scores to make it 3-1 from Clutterbuck. The Islanders then press for another, so Avs are in trouble. But we get a power play for the Avs, and they score on it. It's Nichushkin from Girard and Drouin at 4:18. We then get a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. And then Drouin ties the game from Ranton and a McKinnon at 8:23. The Avs press at 9.5 minutes, but puck goes the other way, goes in the net. Romanov scores from Barzal at 10:18, and so that ties the game, or puts them ahead 4-3. I swear I can count. I can count magnets. I can do that. It's part of the reason we have the team magnets for goals, is so that I can count them. Anyways, 4-3. The Islanders press for another. The Avs then get some pressure with 3 minutes left. Sorokin holds with 2.2 seconds left as the Avs are all around the net. So the Islanders looking to hold the lead going into the third period. Shots are 1 apiece at 4 minutes. There's a near miss for Mike Riley. Puck's cleared out. Woods denied through a screen. The Avs press at 6 minutes. Engvall has a rush chance. That's defended. There's a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. And then the Avs get a power play and they score on it. It's Nichushkin from McKinnon and Makar at 12:21. So once again, they have a very dangerous power play and a lot of really good players in Colorado. The Avs press with 2.5 minutes left. There was a review to see whether or not the Avs scored on a play, and they said no goal. But the Avs go to the power play instead. So they don't get the goal, but they go to the power play, and that's with about 20 seconds left. So that rolls over into overtime. And in the overtime at 32 seconds, it's a one-timer on a tic-tac-toe play. It's the guys you'd expect. It's McKinnon from Makar and Rantanen. So it's not fair. Your final score is 5-4 in overtime. Colorado, they just have good players. It's not fair to the other teams. But Colorado goes to 24-11-3 with the win. The Islanders 17-10-10 with the overtime loss. Shots on net, 16-8 Colorado in the first, 10-9 Colorado in the second, 12-5 Colorado in the third. They also had the only shot of the overtime. Final shots, 39-22 for Colorado. Power plays, the Islanders 1 for 3, Colorado 2 for 5. The hits, 20-16 for the Avs, or for the Islanders. Varlamov saved 11 out of 12, and then Sorokin saved 23 out of 27 in relief. Georgiev saved 18 out of 22, but he gets the win. So shaky night for Georgiev, sure, but he gets the win, and now I need to change boards. All right, final board, I promised. So Philadelphia and the Edmonton Oilers, and I have to put the numbers on here, don't I? All right, all fixed. So Hart versus Skinner in this battle between Philadelphia and the Edmonton Oilers. The Flyers press are kept to the outside. Ceci has a blast that's saved and cleared. We get a press by Philadelphia, or power play for Philadelphia, apologies, and that's killed off. Shots are 4-3 for the Islanders at 9 minutes. Eventually, the Oilers score first. It's McDavid burying one on a rush. Nugent Hopkins with the assist at 15:55. It's 1-0 Oilers. Power play for the Oilers lasts 19 seconds, becomes 4-on-4. Then we had 53 seconds of a 4-on-3 for the Oilers. Draisaitl's denied. It's cleared out. So rolling into the second period, the Oilers had a power play. The Flyers finished the kill. We get a post for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins right after. And then the shots are 4-2 for the Flyers with 4 minutes left in the period, or at 4 minutes. I don't know why I wrote 4 minutes left. Power play for the Flyers, that's killed off. I'm figuring I'm just tired at this point. I need to just go lay down and just sleep. Anyways, so it's 1-0 until Hyman scores from McDavid and Draisaitl at 8 minutes and 12 seconds to make it 2-0, but the Flyers fight back. Konechny scores from Farabee and Couturier at 11:10. The Flyers then get a power play. That's killed off. At 17 minutes, a 2-on-1 rush, and Stahl scores his first goal in 30 games, his first goal of this season. Konechny and Farabee with the assists. With 1:29 left, though, the Oilers get a power play and they score on theirs. It is Nugent-Hopkins from McDavid and Hyman at 19:05. It's a tic-tac-toe goal. Then there's an early press by the Oilers in the third period. They end up drawing a power play and they score on it. Now, it's still not listed as a power play goal on the app. It should be. Draisaitl scores from McDavid and Ceci at 1:27. So the Oilers went 2 for 4 on the power play, even though I wrote 1 for 4 on the board, because it still says 1 for 4 on the app. Ryan has a chance that's kicked aside. The Oilers go back to the power play. That's killed off. We then get a power play for Philly. That was killed off as well. And then on a 2-on-1 rush, Nugent-Hopkins on a nice pass from McDavid buries one. Hyman with the secondary assist at 11:19 makes it 5-2. It is the 10th career 5-point game for McDavid. I think he's pretty good. I know it's going out on a limb. So there's a near miss for Hathaway and close. Farabee's denied on a break as Philadelphia doesn't give up, but they end up losing this one 5-2. The Oilers go to 19-15-1. They now have a good record. For the Flyers, they're 19-13-5. So the Western swing has hurt a lot of teams this season. Philadelphia just the latest. Shots on net, 13-11 for Edmonton in the first, 14-11 Philly in the second. Both teams had 12 shots in the third. Philadelphia outshoots the Oilers 37-36. Power plays, Philadelphia 0 for 4. That continues to hurt them. Edmonton 1 for 4. The hits, 23-14 Philadelphia. Carter Hart, 31 saves on 36 shots. Skinner, 35 saves on 37 shots. So very good night for Skinner. And in the end, the Oilers get the win. All right, next up. Vancouver at home to the Ottawa Senators. Vancouver seemed to just get all the good play out of the way in the first period. So it's Forsberg versus Demko. And at 2:14, Ian Cole with his first goal as a Canuck. He scores from Juleson and Mikheyev. The shots were 3 apiece, 7 minutes in. Senators press at the half. Canucks press with 9 minutes left. Hamonic has a shot that's blocked. It's cleared out. And then Suter scores to make it 2-0 from Lafferty and Myers at 12:39. The Canucks would press for another, and eventually they get it. Pedersen tips one in. Suter with the assist at 16:34. And then 22 seconds later, 16:56, they score again. It's Miller from Zadorov and Besser. We then get a power play for the Canucks. They score on that too at 17:53. It's Pedersen from Miller and Hughes. It's 5-0 after the first period. Now, a 5-0 lead is tricky in today's NHL because you're obviously going to take your foot off the gas in the second period, and then it's a matter of trying to get that back. And the Canucks definitely took their foot off the gas. Ottawa started playing better, and it's hard to reverse that. And they didn't really, but they got enough in that first period that it was okay. But at 1:31, Giroux, while Demko's having a bit of a skate issue, he scores from Tkachuk and Sanderson. Goal wired from the slot by Giroux there. Canucks look to respond, but the shots on net are only one apiece at 5 minutes. Power play for Ottawa, that's killed off. Lafferty comes out of the box on a break. He was denied. Chychrun has a shot that's caught and held. The Canucks press to close it out. It's 5-1 after 2. Third period at 37 seconds. Tarasenko gets one in the net. Giroux and Stützle with the assists. Now it's 5-2. Sens look for another. The Canucks press at 3 minutes. There's a blocker save on Chychrun. The Senators with some pressure. And they're pushing. You could tell they knew they were back in the game. That if they could score another one, they could really turn this around. Lafferty has a rush that's blocked by Stützle. Norris is denied. The rebound's cleared. Pettersson's robbed. Korpisalo holds there. And then Tarasenko, during the 6-on-5, he buries a rebound. Stützle and Batherson with the assists at 17:27. And then it's a fluky one. Suter has one that takes a Canucks bounce at 17:42, and it just beats Korpisalo, and it ends this game. Your final score is 6-3. With that one, it just took all the momentum away from Ottawa. The Canucks go to 24-10-3 with the win. With the loss, the Senators now 14-19 on the season. Shots on net 15-9 for Vancouver in the first, 12-6 Ottawa in the second, 17-5 Ottawa in the third. Demko earned his money tonight. Final shots 38-26 for Ottawa. Power plays, the Sens did not score on theirs. There was only one. Vancouver did score on theirs. There was only one on that side as well. The hits were 22-19 for Ottawa. Forsberg saved 9 out of 13. Korpisalo came in relief and saved 11 out of 13. Demko saved 35 out of 38. So pretty strong night for Demko. Canucks get the win. And yeah, they should thank their goalie. All right, next up, Toronto and LA. So Toronto just need to go on the road apparently, and tomorrow night they're in Anaheim. We'll see if Hildeby gets a start. So it's Jones versus Talbot, and it's the Bieber jerseys, the reversibles, against the Cylon helmeted third jersey wearing LA Kings. It's odd to see the home team wearing white and the road team wearing a dark jersey. I think that's the way the NHL should go back to doing it, but that's just me. So the shots are 2-1 for the Leafs at 3 minutes. The Leafs press at 4 minutes. Shots are 7-1 at 7 minutes. It's really all Toronto. This puck was not getting out of the LA zone hardly at all. Lizotte has a shot that's blocked. The Kings play started to pick up a little bit towards the half. There's a near miss by Kampf as the Leafs press. The Kings press with 7 minutes left. We get a power play for LA. That's killed off. Toronto would get a power play after that. That was killed off as well. It's scoreless after 1. Second period. Early press by the Kings. Bertuzzi fires one wide on a 2-on-1. The shots are 3-2 for the Kings at 4 minutes. At 5:13, Nylander opens the scoring. He gets one from Bertuzzi and Tavares. The Kings would look to respond. We get a power play for Toronto. That's killed off. But then on a turnover, Yarncroke scores on a backhand in close. Bertuzzi and Domi with the assists at 8:14. Suddenly it's 2-0 for Toronto. The Leafs were getting some odd man rushes at this point in the game too. Just some sloppy defense from an LA team that's normally really stingy with that kind of thing. The Kings get stuck on 3 shots for a while. Things get pushy on a hold by Talbot. Gregor has a net drive that's defended. Spence had a blast that was caught and held. Kings press with 5 minutes left. We get a power play for LA with 3:57 left. Fiala's denied. It's cleared out. That's killed off. So it's 2-0 Toronto after 2. Third period. Moore has a chance that's blocked. The shots are 2-0 Toronto, 2 minutes in. Kings press at 3 minutes. Nyes has a one-timer. That's held. Kings score, but it's no goal for goalie interference. So that goal comes off the board. Fans not happy about it. Fiala has a net feed. That's picked off. We had a fight between Benoit and England. Pretty good tilt there. Kings press at the half. The shots are 10-4 for LA with 9.5 minutes left. We then get a power play for Toronto, though, which kind of breaks that up. That's killed off. But again, it really broke up that momentum for LA. Kings press with 6 minutes left, but with 3:47 left, the Kings end up going shorthanded again. The Leafs with the power play, that becomes 1 minute and 32 seconds of 4-on-4. Goalie gets pulled to make it a 5-on-4 for LA, which allows Nylander to hit the empty net at 19 minutes and take any tension out of this. And of course, you've got the Tony the Tiger magnet because Martin Jones was great. Toronto wins this one. They go to 18-10-7 with the 3-0 win. LA drops to 29-5 with the loss. Continue their struggles at home. Shots on net, 11-6 Toronto in the first, 13-11 LA in the second, 12-7 LA in the third. Final shots, 31-29 for the Kings. Power plays, Toronto 0 for 4, LA 0 for 3. The hits, 21-17 for Toronto. Jones saved all 31 shots against his former team for the win and the shutout, and I couldn't be happier for Martin Jones. He's a good goaltender. Talbot, 26 saves on 28 shots. I know what the stats tell people. I know he cleared waivers. He ended up in the AHL. I still think Martin Jones can be an effective NHL goaltender, and I think the run he's on with Toronto has kind of shown that as well. It's not like he didn't show that in Seattle last year, too. He had a very good win-loss record. All right, last game of the night to talk about is Detroit and San Jose. I was terrified this was going to go to a shootout. So it's Lyon versus Kakkonen. The Wings press at 3.5 minutes. The shots are 3-2 for the Sharks, though 4 minutes in. Power play for the Wings, and they score on it. It's sprung with 8 seconds left in the power play from Raymond and Gostisbehere at 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Sharks press. The Wings, though, they blocked. They cleared out. Pressed by the Sharks with 4 minutes left. At 16:50, they scored. Lyon nearly had this. Zetterlund scores from Granlund and Hoffman. So suddenly it's 1-1 after 1. Second period, Sharks press. They're kept to the outside. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Hurdle's denied on a turnover. Kane had a rush that was defended, and then while it's still 4-on-4, Detroit scores. It's Confer from Hall and Mata at 6:07. We then get a power play for Detroit shortly after that. That was killed off. Mata has a one-timer that's held. The Wings press with 8.5 minutes left. But at 18:54, Justin Bailey scores. He's been very good since they signed him. He gets that goal from Ferraro. The Wings would press to respond, but it's 2-2 after 2. Third period. Early jump for the Wings. We get a power play for the Sharks, though. That's killed off. And the shots on net are 2-0 San Jose 5 minutes in. So Detroit not hitting the net. Kane has a blast. That's held. The Sharks overpass a bit on a 2-on-1 rush and end up not getting anything out of it. Lions, the reason this is tied until Barabanov scores for his 100th career point in the National Hockey League. Addison and Emberson with the assists at 9:24. However, Detroit gets a power play and they score on it. It's Perron from Sprong and Raymond at 10:55. We then get a power play for the Sharks. Key moment here, and that's killed off. Confer's denied on a net drive with 4:19 left. Wings with a power play. There's a shorthanded chance for Ferraro. That's held. And so, yeah, it looks like we're going to end up going to overtime. But at 18:30, Perron scores from Raymond. It's kind of an out-of-nowhere play. Detroit has a lead. So San Jose pulls the goaltender, which means Rasmussen hits the empty net at 19:54. And your final score in this one's 5-3 for Detroit. They go to 18-16-4 with the win. San Jose 9-26-3 with the loss. I think that's 8 in a row for San Jose. Yep, we're getting into video territory, and I apologize. Shots on net, 11-8 San Jose in the first, 14-8 Detroit in the second, 9-8 Detroit in the third. Final shots, 31-27 for Detroit. Power plays, 2 for 4 for Detroit, 0 for 2 for San Jose. The hits, 16-9 for Detroit. Not a very physical game. Lions saved 24-27. Kakkonen saved 26 out of 30. And there you go. You guys are all caught up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a lot. I will talk to you again soon.